Hi guys, happy Tuesday. Dori Patrick here, coming at you from the art studio in the big yellow house. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Gosh, we're like halfway through May. How did that happen? I'm sure I have no idea, but anyway, we'll go with it, right? It is beautiful this week. Here we are having, it's just, what am I trying to say? Beautiful weather, mild temperatures. We were really hot there for a while, but now we're like highs in the 60s and beautiful days. We are like cutting the grass a lot, which is kind of annoying, but it's real. The grass is green. It's really growing. Our flowers are popping up. Our lilac bush out back is blooming like crazy. It makes me so happy. I love it. I brought some in this morning and put them on the dining room table, and we can smell them just through the house. It's so nice. So that's what's making me happy these days. And I've been trying to tackle a little bit of yard work every morning so that it's not overwhelming and I can still spend the rest of my days painting, because this is go time for painting, for getting stuff made with art shows just around the corner. Like I said last week, the first one of my season is at the end of June in Des Moines. So, yeah, so I'm making stuff. Here, I'm going to see if I can show you. So this is kind of where things go to dry or to get finished up. I'm into flower bouquets right now. And those canvases back there are prepped and ready for the next theme. And I'm not sure what I'm doing with those yet. I just decide when the time comes to work on them, I decide what I'll do then. And then here's my table. Oh my Lord. What a mess. There's something I'm working on. Oh, I'm going to show you after it's done, I think, because I'm still working out this idea on a wood panel. I'm actually working right on the wood, meaning I'm not prepping it or giving it any extra texture. I'm painting and drawing right on the raw wood, and that's been interesting. I can't quite decide if I don't know. I'm still thinking on it, still working on that idea. But anyway, it's been busy around here and kind of weird. We have one of my cousins is we are probably going to be saying goodbye to her mom, my aunt, soon. So our family is kind of sad and worried and yeah, so kind of waiting to hear about that. And Susie, if you're watching this, I hope you remember we love you and we're thinking about all of you. So yeah, there's some kind of hard stuff going on in our world lately, and it's we're just doing our best to try to be there for folks and take it day by day, which I'm sure is what they're doing. And I am going to be going in, sorry, I'm going to straighten you a little bit. I'm going to be going in for a medical procedure at the end of the week. So I also am feeling a little like I gotta get some stuff done and just sort of wrap things up before that. I don't think I'm going to be laid up. I think it's just going to be minor, but you just never know. You never know. So that's it's a weird week of waiting and anticipating things. But we are doing fine. We're doing fine. So I wanted to keep this one kind of short, partly because, mostly because I have a long list to get through today and I've got to work as much as I would love to chit chat with you guys. A couple of you asked a couple of questions that I'm hoping to answer in this week's video. One is about fixatives. In my video where I shared my favorite drawing tools, I talked a lot about fixatives, that you may need to fix things. And what I mean by that is there are supplies that you use in your art or in your journals that move either because they're water soluble, which means they react to water, or they may be chalky, like a pastel, even an oil pastel, a chalk pastel, that kind of thing. Those kinds of things need a fixative to ensure that if you want your color to stay put, if you fear that the chalk might get rubbed and won't be as permanent as you'd like. So I wanted to share my favorites with you. I think I'm going to do in order of how little the ones I use just a little bit, and then I'll build up to the favorite. How about that? Okay, so the two that I have that are good for chalk, pencil, charcoal drawings are either one of these, and this one is good for oil pastel. So let's start with this one. So this is the one, and I'm gonna try my best to put some links down in the description so you can find these, but I'm gonna also try to let you see. I think that's Groombacker. This one is really great for the chalkier stuff, I have found. This particular one is a gloss finish, but they come in lots of different finishes. Satin, matte, you name it. This is great for the chalky stuff. Disadvantage, it has to be done outside because this is an aerosol can and you don't want to be breathing in those fumes. So you need to do this in a ventilated area. The other one, this is also good for chalky stuff, charcoal and chalk, but excellent on oil pastel. And that is the brand, which I am not even going to attempt to pronounce. Just put the link in. I don't do a lot with real oily pastels, but when I do, like for instance, if I do a sketch in a sketchbook or something, this is the stuff to seal it with. And you'll want to do this outside as well because this is aerosol. You don't want to breathe it in. You need to be in a ventilated area. And it will take 2 to 3 coats if you really want it to, get nailed down and not move in your book. So these I use the least because I just don't do as much chalk and charcoal drawings and stuff. I want to get into it more, but when I'm in the middle of show season, it's all acrylics, water-based, because I'm making work for my shows. But occasionally I'll grab these and use these to seal. So the two that I use the most, I mean just about every day. This is the first one. This is Liquitex Matte Varnish. I know it's not a spray. I don't spray it on. I use this to set my Stabilo All pencils and also my Neocolor 2 crayons. I use this stuff. I mean, I go through several bottles of this a year. And what you do is lightly brush it over anything that you want to lock in and not have move around in your books or in your work. It will smear. So, but I do that on purpose because I want my Stabilo All pencil marks to kind of have that ghosty, smeary look. And this is how I achieve that. If you're looking for just leaving that pencil mark, not smudging it one bit. Then you go to this. And this I also go through several bottles here. This is Spectrafix. Let's see, can you see that? And what I love about this is it's non-aerosol. So I can use it inside, outside, all year long. You don't need proper ventilation for it. It's a casein-based fixative. I use this on all of my water-soluble things that I want to lock in. And I would recommend, if you really want to lock it in, you're going to do 2 or 3 coats. The one downside to this that I have found, and it's the only one, is when you get down to finishing up the bottle, sometimes when you spray it, it's kind of like, you know, when your non-aerosol hairspray starts to run out, and so you kind of get those little globs. It's not a fine mist because it's not getting everything it can from the bottom. So sometimes you'll spray and you'll get this glob, and that's not ideal. But the way I manage that is, as this bottle starts getting low, I switch to a new bottle, start using that, and as that one goes down, I fill it up with what's left in there. I no longer use it when it's low in the bottle to save myself that headache. So that's a little tip, but I cannot say enough good stuff about Spectrafix. I was so excited when I heard about it, and I can't even remember how I heard about it, but I thought, okay, this is a game changer, because here in Iowa, we have long, cold winters, and it's neither ideal or safe to go outside and be spritzing your stuff out in the, you know, on a January day. So this will save you from that. Yay. Yeah, so that's my fixative. I think that's it for fixatives. Those are these 2 babies are my go-tos. Every day I touch one or both of these in my work. So yeah, I hope that kind of answers some of the questions you guys had about that. I know I went on and on about fixative, and then I just sort of left you hanging. So I'm glad that you asked. The other question I got from a couple of you, and it's kind of a fun question, and I love hearing other artists and makers answer it too, because it's kind of interesting to me. But they asked, do I have a uniform, a working uniform that I wear when I am painting or working or whatever? And my answer is sort of. You have probably noticed, like, I love overalls. I have a lot of overalls. I kind of am obsessed with them. So I can't even tell you how many pairs I have. And I have painting clothes, and I have non-painting clothes. When I had a storefront and ran my make and take art studio, my everyday clothes just sort of became painting clothes, because I was, you know, in the public eye and still felt like, you know, I wanted to, you know, dress nice and be cute. And it was pretty hard to avoid running an art studio, public art studio, without getting stuff all over your clothes. So everything became paint clothes. But since I came home, I have had the luxury of kind of separating out my 2 lives, my making in the studio life and my outside the house life. And I have specific clothes for each. So for my studio wear, I have clothes that are just meant for painting. So the overalls have paint on them. I do a lot of thrifting. I go to Goodwill and Salvation Army, and sometimes sometimes you hit the mother load there of cheap t-shirts. I have a certain kind of t-shirt I like to wear. And sometimes I'll find a bunch of them. And because I've only spent, $2 or $3 on a t-shirt, it's like, well, that's a painting t-shirt. And I don't feel bad about, ruining something. I don't wear aprons. I used to when I worked in the storefront, but I don't wear aprons. My overalls are my apron, and I just wipe my clothes. These aren't really that broken yet. Whoops. Hopefully, well, you can't see. I usually wipe my hands on my belly and on my thighs when I'm working. So that's where all the paint ends up, usually. But I can't stress enough that you need to get comfortable. You need to be comfortable when you're working in your studio. So find that thing that is comfy to wear and something you're not going to worry about. Because if you are worried about your clothes, forget about it. If you have to fuss around and be careful and all that, nope, ain't got time for that. I have no time for that. It is paint slinging time, and I am not going to mess around with being careful. So find stuff that's comfortable. Hit your local thrift shop and find some old t-shirts for $2. Throw them in the wash, and there you go. And the great thing about that thrifting stuff is, some of my purchases haven't always worked out. I am not going to be uncomfortable in the studio. So if a neckline ends up being a little weird or whatever, I just donate it back to Goodwill. I get it out of my life because I also just don't have time to have stuff in my life that I'm not using. Does that make sense? Wow, I really got on my soapbox there, but it's true. You've got to get anything that may inhibit your movement or your creativity, get it out. Get it out of your life. Get it out of your way, because we ain't got time for that. So, on that note, I'm going to leave you with a well wishes. Happy Tuesday. I hope that your week is going great, and wishing anyone who is kind of going through some hard stuff, sending you lots of love. And we'll see you next week, I hope. Take care. Bye-bye.